everyone, this is Giselle Agreda and today I will be sharing with you some knowledge about corals and coral reefs. Coral reefs are among the most complex and fascinating marine ecosystems in the sea, and they include a wide range of symbiotic relationships. Coral reefs are sometimes known as the rainforest of the sea. Nearly a quarter of all the fish in the sea rely on the healthy coral reefs. Corals provide habitats for fish and other organisms in the ocean. Coral reefs not only provide marine species with a rich habitat, but they also assist people as well. Millions of people around the world rely on fish caught in and around coral reefs. The coral reefs also draw in tourists, which helps the local economies. Coral reefs protect people and land from storms as well, serving as a barrier that reduces the impact of large waves on shore. While the ocean and other bodies of water covers more than 70% of the earth, the coral reefs only take up less than 0.01% of the ocean itself. Research and protection of coral reefs is important, in large part because the world has lost nearly 20% of its coral reefs, with many more reefs under threat today. Pollution and increasing ocean temperature are two major causes of coral reef loss, a problem that can have long-reaching effects on humans and marine species alike. Both pollution and warming waters can cause coral bleaching, a process where stressed corals expel their symbiotic algae, causing them to turn white. The absence of the zooxanthellae causes the coral to have a more limited access to food, and this increases their susceptibility to diseases. So what can we do to lessen the threat? Marine Protected Areas or MPAs involve the protective management of natural areas according to predefined management objectives. MPAs can be a concern for a number of reasons, including economic resources, biodiversity conservation, and species protection. They are created by delineating zones with permitted and non-permitted uses within that zone. Integrated coastal zone management uses the informal participation and cooperation of all stakeholders to access the societal goals in a given coastal area and to take actions towards meeting these objectives. ICZM seeks over the long term to balance environmental, economic, social, cultural, and recreational objectives, all within the limits set by natural dynamics. Taxonomy or taxonomical classification is a scheme of classification in which things are organized into groups or types. Originally, taxonomy referred only to the categorization of organisms. In a wider, more general sense, it may refer to a categorization of things or concepts, as well as to the principles underlying such a categorization. Taxonomy organizes taxonomic units known as taxa. The particular form of biological classification set up by Carl Linnaeus as set forth in his Systema Naturae in 1735. In the taxonomy of Linnaeus, there are three kingdoms, divided into classes, and they in turn into lower ranks in hierarchical order. This rank-based method of classifying living organisms was originally popularized by Linnaeus. Although it has changed considerably since his time, the greatest innovation of Linnaeus and still the most important aspect of his system is the general use of binomial nomenclature, the combination of a genus name and a second term, which together uniquely identify each species of organisms within a kingdom. For example, the human species is uniquely identified within the animal kingdom by the name Homo sapiens. No other species of animal can have this same binomen. Hard corals extract abundant calcium from surrounding seawater and use this to create a hardened structure for protection and growth. Coral reefs are therefore created by millions of tiny polyps forming a large carbonate structure and are the basis of a framework and home for hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of other species. It takes a long time to grow a coral colony or a coral reef because each coral grows slowly. The fastest corals expand at more than 6 inches or 15 centimeters per year, but most grow less than an inch per year. Individual colonies can often live decades to centuries, and some deep-sea colonies have lived more than 4,000 years. So all of these are made known to science because of scuba diving. Diving enabled marine scientists to collect biological and geological samples, observe organisms and their behavior directly on site, study species interaction, and evaluate the marine community structures and dynamics. This method has helped to refine the distribution maps of many species and coastal communities. Corals are invertebrate animals belonging to a large group of colorful and fascinating animals called Cnidaria. Other animals in this group that you may have seen in rock pools or on the beach include jellyfish and sea anemones. Although cnidarians exhibit a wide variety of colors, shapes, and sizes, they all share the same distinguishing characteristics: a simple stomach with a single mouth opening surrounded by stinging tentacles. Corals actually comprise of an ancient and unique partnership called symbiosis that benefits both animal and plant life in the ocean. Corals are animals because they do not make their own food as plants do. Corals have tiny tentacle-like arms that they use to capture their food from the water and sweep it into their indestructible mouths. Most structures that we call corals are in fact made up of hundreds to thousands of tiny corals called polyps. Each soft-bodied polyp secretes a hard outer skeleton of limestones or calcium carbonate that attaches either to rock or the dead skeletons of other polyps. Most corals contain algae called zooxanthellae, which are plant-like organisms. Residing within the coral's tissue, the microscopic algae are well protected and make use of the coral's metabolic waste products for photosynthesis, the process by which plants make their own food. Coral are generally classified as either hard or soft coral. There are around 800 known species of hard corals, also known as the reef-building corals. Soft corals, which include sea spans, sea feathers, and sea whips, don't have the rock-like calcareous skeleton like others. Instead, they grow wood-like cores for support and fleshy rinds for protection. And that's it! That's all there is to know about corals. I really hope you enjoyed and I really hope you've learned something. Thank you!